Chapter 129 to 130. The Spade Pirates were created a few months ago. Considering that, the connections between the crew members weren't supposed to be so deep. However, this is the world of Nakama Sheep. More so, the son of the previous pirate king, Ace, is the captain of this crew. With his charisma, the crew became very close in this short time. Just like how the Straw Hat Pirates were close, the Spade Pirates were the same. So losing one of their companions, even more so, their vice captain, everyone was sad. They were now sitting while hugging their legs or lying on the ground while staring at the sky. Perry, the woman who was sitting beside the unconscious Ace, whispered, "Maybe we shouldn't have come to the New World." The ones who were still conscious looked at her, but they didn't retort. Maybe she was right. Deuce was an important member of the crew. Losing him meant a lot. Perry again moved her lips. "Then what should we do about that man who saved us?" Another member of the crew, Daniel, released a stiff laugh. "Ha! We are grateful, but we need to wait for Ace to wake up. Even if we are like this, he is still out, Captain." Perry again questioned. "And what about the other guy? Friend from the underworld?" Deuce had told them about that man many times, so they were pretty familiar with who he was, how he looks, how he talks, even what his favorite food was. Obviously, everything was what Amon wanted him to know. To Amon, Deuce was a valuable man. When Ace would have joined the Whitebeard Pirates, the Spade Pirates would have done the same. He would have then brainwashed Deuce to be his informant, the person who would have kept him up to date about Blackbeard, the biggest unstable variable of this world. So he spent quite some time teaching him things, but now that he was dead, all that was basically a waste. Still, it didn't matter. He will just choose another person from the Spade Pirates as the next pawn. The members of the Whitebeard Pirates are too strong to brainwash, and the few weak ones are too familiar with other crew members to not notice the changes even if they are small. So an outsider would be the best idea. Tuck, tuck, tuck. It was then they heard the sounds of footsteps. They slowly turned their head as their eyes gained a look of surprise. It was a man with shoulder-length blue hair, so they almost mistook him as Deuce. "Hello," the man talked in an old and gruff voice. "I am Mr. Fool. You can consider me Deuce's friend." Yes, it was Amon who was streaming lighting to his hair to make it seem blue. After reaching as far as 700 million volts, Amon can use his lightning to form different colors by heating it to different degrees. He was also hiding his wings by fusing them with his Logia body. All of them sighed. Of course, this wasn't Deuce, but it was still a relief that it wasn't an enemy either. They weren't in a mood for fighting. After a while, Ace regained his consciousness. The first thing he did was look around. Looking at Deuce's body laying down with a handkerchief over his face, he was too shocked to notice the blue-haired man sitting beside the body. With a dead look in his eyes, Ace fell on his back again. Tears started to swell in his eyes. "It's my fault." Ace covered his face with his forearm. He didn't remember much of the fight with Jack since he went unconscious, but he knew he got some kind of power-up. "If I was strong from the beginning, then this wouldn't have happened." Ace recalled how Sabo died. He lost one of his brothers and promised Luffy to become the Pirate King. "But how will I manage without our ship's doctor, Deuce?" Ace broke out crying as he covered his face. Perry just stared at him with sad eyes. Perry's hourglass body was bleeding and her brown hair was messed up. She just sat there silently while hugging her legs. She sometimes looked at Amon, who was silently sitting beside Deuce's body. After a while, Perry got up and walked towards Amon. The crew members let him get close to Deuce's body since they were sure of his identity. Perry stopped beside him and looked. Mr. Fool." "Yes, Mr. Fool." Perry sat beside him, her eyes sad. "Thanks for sending that other dragon fruit user, or we would have all died." Mr. Fool Amon ignored the corpse and looked at Perry. His eyes shined for a moment. Interest. That's what his eyes were shining with. Perry wasn't able to notice it since she was too busy mourning. New pawn discovered? Amon felt a little bad that Deuce died. He spent quite some time with him after all. But that bad feeling wasn't sadness. It was just a little bitterness in his mouth. Sadness, huh? In this world, only a few handful of people's death would make him genuinely sad. He has come far from the kid who didn't care about a single person. Mr. Fool then opened his mouth under the black and white anonymous mask. You do not need to thank me. I was merely helping this child's friends after his death. He went silent. If I wasn't late, maybe I could have saved him too. Perry nodded lightly. It was when Ace also noticed Mr. Fool. But unlike the others, he couldn't recognize him. He was simply too emotional. He made a grim face as he walked towards him and touched his shoulder. Who are you? Amon turned his head. Ace was surprised for a brief moment looking at the similarities between him and Deuce, but it was short-lived. Amon then stood up and placed his hand on his shoulder. Portgas D. Ace. I am a friend of Deuce. Ace made a serious face. Which friend? Ace's question was answered by Perry. Ace, he is Mr. Fool, the guy Deuce always used to talk about. Ace finally understood what was going on here. His eyes grew as he made a sorry face and averted his hand from his shoulder. He only spent around 6 months with Deuce, meanwhile. This man knew him for years, so it was obvious that he must be feeling much greater sadness than him. Ace bit his lips. He felt Amon's gaze on him. He was assuming Amon must be blaming him. However, I thank you for looking after him. He must have been happy to give his life for you, Ace. That's what Amon said. Ace's eyes grew. His face soon crumbled as tears again started to fall. I am so sorry. Just like that, a few hours passed. Amon treated the injured and cooked some food from the ship. Finally, the crew members calmed down. It was time for Amon to start his main wordplay. He looked at Ace while beside him, Deuce's body was wrapped up in a large white cloth. All right, now I need to leave. I need to bury Deuce. Ace was shocked hearing this. Where will you bury him? We will go too. In my place, he once said he wanted to be buried there if he ever died. Amon continued. And no, I can't take you there. I need to finish this fast because... Amon made serious eyes. After this, I will invade Wano. I won't let go of Jack this easily. He needs to die. A blue lighting aura appeared around Amon, making the others flinch. How dare a mere all-star do this to him? I will destroy the beast's pirates. It was true that Amon plans to kill Jack. He will then grant the fruit to a motor gang member. They have a unique transformation that can make them around Emperor level. Ace was shocked and intimidated. He suddenly looked at Amon with admiration. He heard Fool was strong, but he didn't know he was this strong to refer to an all-star as mere. However, Mr. Calm down. Although your skin looks quite young, from your voice you seem like an old man. You shouldn't pick a fight with the rumored strongest creature. After a while, the aura around Amon slowly dissipated. Young man, I am strong. But you are right. Amon was showing the image of a wise man. Still, I have to kill Jack. I have enough power to stay away from Kaido and finish the job. Ace tried to say something, but Perry stopped him. Amon turned around, looking down at the corpse. I will now leave. I am sorry that you can't witness Deuce's grave, but I promise I will return after this and show you. He picked up Deuce's corpse from the ground. Nobody stopped him. They simply didn't have the face to. After all, it was them who was responsible to kill him, in a sense. In truth, Amon was taking Deuce to make him a shadow soldier. Maybe Deuce can turn into a dragon even after death? It is true the devil fruit leaves the body after use dies, but just because the devil fruit the body doesn't mean their previous power also fully left the body. Zoan fruits cause a genetic change. It can't just revert back to a completely normal body, at least not to Amon's medical and biological knowledge. As Amon was able to fly off with Deuce, Ace stopped him by grabbing him by the hands. "Wait, I want to go to Wano as well. I can't let my crewmate's killer go away so easily. Not in this life," he said with a determined voice. Amon stared at him for a second before grinning under his mask. "Perfect. Oh, Ace, you have no idea how bad I will fuck you up." Meanwhile, in Gran Tesoro, Robin and Rocky were present. Robin was here to observe things and obtain the report of what was happening. This was her first time here. However, Rocky was different. She was here on a vacation. She was in a massive room, dripping inside a pool made of gold. Ha 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 ha! Finally, finally! She had her arms spread while two beautiful women were resting on them. One was a blonde woman, one was green-haired. They would have easily been called models in Amon's world, but now they were Rocky's pets. They were both naked just like Rocky. She had her hands on their bosoms while laughing like a madman. She looked at the blonde-haired and raised her chin. Men are unattractive except for Big Bro, so I have to be satisfied with you girls until I manage to get under brother's skin. Hey, 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 hey. While Amon was seriously plotting, Rocky was fucking around, literally. She has suffered enough on the moon, not anymore. She will train while living like a boss in her break time. Days later, in the borders of Wano Kuni, a ship was spotted. It was flying a spade Jolly Roger. In Onigashima, Wano, Reo had reached Kaido along with Jack. Currently, in a dark room, he was standing in front of Kaido, who was currently busy drinking booze. Beside him, All-Star King was eyeing him, but there was no hostility shown by them. Kaido started to pour sake in his mouth like water, then released a breath. "Gah!" After wiping his lips, he looked at Reo, who didn't seem intimidated by his presence, a rare sight to withhold for someone meeting him for the first time. In truth, he wasn't scared of death. There are only a few people who Reo was scared of. Kaido made a serious face and looked at Jack. "Jack, so this is the kid you were talking about?" Jack nodded. "Yes, Kaido-sama. I tested his strength. He is strong enough to be a headliner." Kaido stared at Jack's face and his bandaged hand before moving his head to silently observe Reo. "A Skypiean just like that new kid," Kaido mumbled, which Reo couldn't hear. "You have a dragon fruit?" To begin with, Kaido sent Jack to bring the unknown dragon fruit so that someone from the crew could eat it. So even though some inconveniences happened, it was worth it considering Reo joined. Reo nodded. "Woro woro!" Kaido grinned, seeing his unshakable nod. "King, go test him. I can sense it. He has the potential to become one of the Flying Three." Unlike 4 years from now, there were only 3 members on the Flying Six of the Beast's pirates, so they were using this name. Jack's face darkened hearing Kaido's command. This meant he didn't have enough trust in his word. He felt dejected. Saying this, Kaido went back to drinking while King stepped forward. "I will do as you wish, Kaido-sama." King is an alien with the mixed ancestry of the winged race and another one. He has a lifespan longer than normal humans, and he is the last living person of his race that was exterminated nearly a century ago. With his black wings, one can already guess he had a connection with the winged race, and they aren't wrong. King stopped in front of Reo. Reo was currently 7'7". King was more than 25, so it was a funny sight how Reo was looking up to meet his eyes. He looked at Reo briefly before walking past him. "Follow me. I will finish this soon. Kaido-sama and I will leave a few days later. We need to prepare." Fa King turned into his dragon form and flew off. Reo did the same 5 seconds later and followed behind him, going towards the sky. Needless to say, this was an aerial battle. In a few days, Kaido and King will leave. They might or might not bring Jack with them. Meanwhile, Queen will guard the prison in Wano, Amon thought. In canon, Kaido was supposed to be out when Ace came to Wano, where he met Yamato. But things changed a lot. Kaido wasn't supposed to leave in this timeline. Amon changed a lot, so big and small changes were inevitable. However, luckily, with Amon's connections, he was able to cause an emergency, so Kaido and King will be gone for now. If Jack stays behind, he will go for his head this time. For sure. Ja! Amon's thoughts were cut by the sounds of sea waves. Let's focus on reaching Wano first. We are already close. I can sense Kaido's presence from here, Amon thought as he looked at the reverse fountain in front of him. Not so long after, the Spade pirates reached Wano. It was all thanks to an eternal log pose brought by Amon. Their ship didn't crash like canon since Amon was acting as a navigator. With his 300-kilometer radius, sensing powers along with his thunder powers, it was needless to say he was around the level of the best navigator. After climbing the reverse mountain with the help of some fish, they reached Kuni, or more accurately, Amon led them there. He needed to meet Tenguyama Hitetsu, who was in Kuni, and take the Kitetsu to Nidai Kitetsu from him. Get out of here, pirates! The first thing the Spade pirates encountered after reaching the land safely was a bunch of people armed with sticks, cooking utensils, farming equipment, etc. In front of the crowd, a man wielding a sword stood with a little girl hiding behind him. The man was wearing a dark Tengu mask over his face that had an extremely long nose. More importantly, his most distinguishing feature was the pair of wings behind his back. The wings looked like those of Burkans. "We surrender. Put your weapons down." This was what Ace said while having his hands in the air. He didn't want to fight them. They looked very pitiful. He might be in a heat of revenge, but he won't change his personality all of a sudden. His crew members did the same along with Amon. Let's let this play out smoothly. I don't want trouble before Kaido leaves, Amon thought while the nervous villagers started to tie him up. Food! They have food! Look! There are fresh vegetables too! The inhabitants of Kuri were chattering among themselves inside the ship of Ace, robbing and stealing the food supply of the ship. They hadn't eaten proper food for years, so the sudden supply of food from this pirate ship made them strangely happy and emotional. Shamelessly, they started to loot the ship of Spade pirates. They took out all the food there was. Some even tried to grab each other's food, and a small commotion started. The captured Spade pirates were silently observing all this. Ace had a small smile on his face, but that soon disappeared as he made a serious face. That Kaido, he dared to do wrong with these pitiful people. From Amon, he heard about Wano already. Although it is supposed to be the country of samurais, people are forbidden to even wield swords now. All that was because of Kaido and his beasts pirates. They are even monopolizing the food supply. Ace sighed. He noticed some of his crew members were already trying to free themselves. Guys, they turned their heads towards him. Don't! Ace told the others to wait until their eating is done. He didn't want to bother them now. Amon, who had his arms tied behind his back, accepted and closed his eyes. His observation haki's range widened and went to the sky above Onigashima. In the sky, Reo and King were fighting. Amon opened his eyes and sighed. Phew. It was a one-sided battle with King winning. All-Star King sure is strong, but his fire ability is weaker than the pure-blooded ones. Still, Nergigante was pretty much resistant to fire. The biggest weakness of Nergigante is lightning. Amon can probably kill Reo in his dragon form with 700 million volts, or at least make him half dead. That's how weak he was against lightning. So other than me, his natural enemies are Big Mom and Kaido. He also recalled the minx with electricity powers. but their output is too weak to hurt him. Amon decided to not think any longer and looked at Ace, who was sitting beside him. "You seem calmer than I thought." Amon talked in his natural voice. It took them around 3 weeks to reach here from Risky Red Island, so they were pretty close now, mostly because Amon used his charisma to get closer to them. He also let them know about his voice, saying he was making it sound like that to be cautious. Ace, still looking at the happily eating people with a smile, nodded. "Kind of." Amon nodded lightly with a, Beside Amon, Perry asked a question. "Hey, mister, how old are you?" Amon looked at her and stayed silent for a while before saying, "You have already asked 48 times. I have answered 48 times. The answer is the same now. I won't reveal it." "Stinky," she said while showing her tongue. Amon ignored her as she giggled. She wasn't important at the moment. Her importance would start after Spade Pirates join Whitebeard Pirates. She will be the brainwashed spy. Amon had mixed feelings about talking to this already dead girl like her. "Anyway," Amon cracked his neck, "they look like they are about to be finished. Let me free myself first. I need to talk with that red-masked guy." Zzz. Saying this, Mr. Fool's body disappeared with a bolt of lightning. People, at least Ace, won't suspect him as Sky Emperor, the famed user of Goro Goro no Mi, since countless devil fruits produce electricity upon activation, such as Tesoro's Gold fruit and Toki's Time fruit. Mom? After teleporting himself away from the ropes that were binding him, Amon walked towards the busy crowd who were still busy cleaning their plates. "Mom, give me a little more. I haven't eaten for 5 days." "You are only 8. You don't need to eat that much." A mom and her young son were quarreling because of food. "This is the face of this world under the mask of Battle Shunen manga, huh?" Amon thought as he walked closer. Even when he was just standing beside them, they didn't notice him. They were busy eating. However, one person did notice him. "Wait!" Amon suddenly found a sword on his neck. "Don't make a move! How did you free yourself?" It was Tenguyama Hitetsu, a man with Birkin ancestry, but more importantly, the creator of Kitetsu Sandai and the current holder of Kitetsu II, Nidai Kitetsu. Amon looked at Hitetsu. Their eyes met from under the masks. "If I get that, I will have a full collection of Kitetsu blades." Along with Sandai Kitetsu, Rocky was using Shusui, one of the 21 great-grade Meito, and a powerful black blade, famously wielded by the legendary samurai Ryuma. Amon got it from Ryuma's zombie from Thriller Bark. Currently, he is searching for a suitable shadow for Ryuma and also a way to heal his dead body back to normal. With him, I will have my own Odin. Ignoring the thoughts, Amon raised his hands while people finally noticed him and backed away. "I am sorry. I was just thinking that I might as well cook some food since you all are eating them raw. It's kind of disgusting, to be honest."